Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
What's up, guys? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Beautiful, beautiful day. Hope everybody is having a wonderful life session and hopefully more blessings to you. All I ask is take that second, support the channel, click that like button. Let's try to figure this out together. So, big story after the close. You had two earnings reports that two stocks really did very, very well this year. The first one was Avago. As you can see, Broadcom from the March 30 lows has gone from 289 all the way up to 495. The earnings were fine. They beat the top and bottom line. Estimates were 240. They beat by 4 cents. Revenues up a tad. The guidance looked okay, but after again such a big run, is it really shocking that there is going to be a sell the news scenario for Broadcom? Not that big of a deal. Stock is getting hit after hours despite the good earnings, but again, huge run up. Shareholders, investors, again, how can you be possibly upset at 450 when the stock 2 months ago was only at 289. You have CrowdStrike, right? CrowdStrike, again, another stock that had an absolutely incredible godlike run-up, right? Best way of saying it, godlike run-up from the lows of 364. The stock has doubled in 2 months. Their earnings report, pretty good, right? Pretty good. They beat the top, they beat the bottom. Revenue up 26% year over year. Earnings per share up over 50% year over year. They announced a 4-for-1 stock split, which is great. Gives us another stock to trade, hopefully better liquidity. But again, same case as Avago. When you go on a godlike run, again, is it really shocking that there is profit taking after the close? So again, you're getting two stocks getting hit after big run-ups. The continued story continues to be, well, the semiconductor and the memory names are holding the entire market on their backs. It's pretty obvious right now, guys, and we're getting to the point that it's hard to defend the bullishness of the overall market. Again, we still want to participate on a day-to-day basis, but it's the same culprits, right? It's the same stocks. SanDisk just doesn't want to stop, right? Just doesn't want to stop. Micron, again, keeps on going. We talked about the semiconductors yesterday. Lam Research, more highs. AMAT, right? AMAT, more highs, right? AMAT, more highs. I mean, these stocks are doing very well, right? Extremely well. And then you turn around and you look under the hood of the overall market, and here is where we have our problems, right? Let's talk about this, okay? And again, it doesn't mean anything. It's just warranted a conversation. Again, folks, always remember, especially if you're a brand new viewer to this channel, I'm not a bull. I'm not a bear. I'm an opportunist, both sides. I don't care which side it is. I look at the market for fair value, and all I care is the technical channels. If the stock takes out a previous day's channel and starts to build, it's a long. If the stock takes out the previous day's channel to the downside, it's a short. That's all I care about, right? It's all I care about. So let's talk about the names that are having some problems, right? Having some problems. So let's start off with Tesla. Talk about the gift and the curse. So I thought we had a really good trade today in Tesla. Tesla today at one point took out 2 days worth of channels, reclaimed the 5-day moving average. And when I tell you, if you have any option scanners, which again, I really emphasize that traders should have an option scanner. Even if you don't trade options, you kind of know where you need to know where the money flow is coming into. They were coming in when the stock was like 425 in the morning. They were coming in for the 440 and 450 weeklies. Like today was the last day to buy calls. When I'm talking about an aggressive move, it was an aggressive move. We caught a beautiful move, a $4 move on Tesla. Everything was great. I got down to 30%. And here's where the frustrating part is, right? So here's where Tesla takes off, right? It takes off from this 424, 425. As you can see, puts in an incredible, an absolute incredible channel. We were all, we were all very, very happy. And then the stock absolutely reverses and goes red on the day. Your guess is as good as mine, right? Your guess is as good as mine as what's happening. Was somebody, did somebody have news that something was about to come out? Maybe. Did somebody start dumping the shares when the news got refuted, right? That didn't kind of make the tape? Maybe, but it's a very, very frustrating stock because, again, when you see the option flow, how aggressive it was, and the stock literally put up, I mean, look at this thing. It went from 424 to almost a $10 candle to just completely reverse is just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. Happy with the result, but I really thought if we could get that magical move and rotation out of everything else into Tesla, and that'd be great. If you guys remember yesterday, we were talking about the uranium trades, right, guys? If money flow would go back to the uraniums, they failed. They never got even close to their previous channel. Again, that's a bad sign. It really shows you that the overall market doesn't want to follow through, and it's a one-day wonder. Again, not a great sign. Google, right? Google did an offering yesterday, is raising money. Google gapped up today, failed to gap up. Here's the problem with Google, okay? Not only is it one of the leaders, stock can't rally. It's raising money, and now we are sitting 2 days in a row on the 50-day EMA. If you're a brand new watcher to this channel, guys, always remember, it's the most basic rule. It has nothing to do with the PS60 theory. Above the 50-day is bullish. Below the 50-day, not so much. Google is holding on to the 50-day moving average, the 50-day EMA, not the SMA, the 50-day EMA back-to-back days. If Google loses the 50-day EMA tomorrow, then this thing goes all the way down to here to 351, which is the 50-day SMA. Again, a big red flag. Amazon can just not get out of its own way. And not only is it can't get out of its own way, Amazon tested the 50-day moving average today. Again, not a great sign. It held, that's a good thing, right? And again, until it loses, it's deemed still fine. But what happens tomorrow, right? What happens tomorrow? If Amazon starts losing the 50-day moving average and fails to reclaim it back on the close, it's a sell signal. Granted, any news can come out and the stock can go crazy, but on the surface, if Amazon loses today's channel tomorrow, that will also lose the 50-day moving average. Again, something notable to watch. NVIDIA, you would think, would be going out of its mind, and it does. It goes on great runs. The CEO Jensen is touting Marvel and doing this and doing that. Right? Can't get out of its own way. The last couple of days can't get out of its own way despite the rest of the semiconductors being very, very strong. Microsoft, after a 2-day godlike run, 3-day godlike run, is already given back to almost more than half its bar. That's not a good thing, and it closed below the 150-day moving average. It's starting to get to the point that if Microsoft can't reclaim back the 150-day moving average in the next couple of days, that's not a good thing as well. Here is where it gets a little bit dicier from the more speculative point of view. So I look at Bitcoin, right, as speculation money. It's an alternative asset class, but let's be honest, has nothing to do about has nothing to do about a hedge against inflation. It's just another speculation asset class. It's like the metaverse. It's like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, whatever the case may be. Okay. Here's the problem. Bitcoin is back to, let's see, the last trade here is about 66,000. If you guys remember, several months ago, it held 60,000 several times. Here's the question. If you have an overall softening of the rest of the market and Bitcoin loses 60,000, doesn't that represent a speculation buyer strike? Again, it's a rhetorical question. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to predict. I'm not here to convince you. It's just a rhetorical question, but that's something at least we have to be aware of. And that spills over to, right? That spills over to the Coinbase Bitcoin stocks, right? Coinbase is very, very close, folks, to losing the March lows. That can't be a good thing. You look at MSTR, right? MSTR is broken. It lost its 50-day moving average, and that's the whole point of me reiterating the importance of the 50-day moving average with Google, with Amazon, right? Both still intact. So got to watch those things. You can see MSTR lost the 50-day moving average, and all it's been doing is selling. You have names, for example, like Circle, right? Circle is like an inch away from falling off a cliff, right? This thing looks terrible. Look at Gilead. I'm just trying to show you guys stocks from different groups, right? It's not just a technology thing. It's different groups. Like look at a chart like Gilead, right? Gilead has held, right? Has held the 200-day moving average 4 times, right? 4 times since April. Now, what happens if it confirms yesterday's lows? These are some things we have to think about. Again, folks, you can't be naive and arrogant to think that, you know what? AMD, SanDisk, Micron, Marvel, it's all good. They're going to hold up the whole market. Something eventually has to give, right? Again, we see buyer strikes all the time when the market is exhausted. We see seller strikes all the time when the market is super oversold. And the question is now, what happens next? It's a very, very fair question. And when you look at Avago, if you look at Avago and you look at CrowdStrike tonight, now it's giving the bears another opportunity to kind of, well, you guys had a good run. Let's start selling off the whole market, right? Look at names like PLTR. Again, PLTR had a phenomenal run and it held the 50-day moving average. Say, guys, you see the common theme here? There's way too many names in a really hot market that tested the 50-day moving average today. That shouldn't happen because if you look at the QQQs, the 50-day moving average is 80 points away. So how can you have so many individual names testing their 50-day moving average today if the broader breadth is okay, right? Just something to think about, folks. Again, I'm not trying to convince anybody over anything. I don't know. You think I know, right? I have no idea. I'm just trying to gather information. I'm just trying to gather the data like everybody else. But when I have PLTR, I have Amazon, and I have Google. Again, I'm sure I could find others. When I have all three successfully holding their 50-day moving average tomorrow, and there is a possibility that they could lose it tomorrow, right? The dynamic, the personality of the tape is in jeopardy. Now, what happens if the semis give up, right? Well, we have at least being prudent enough at least to have the conversation. So if you do wake up tomorrow and there is selling in these big semiconductor names, well, then you have a bunch of names that if they lose the 50-day moving average can really give you value setups. Now, here's the other hand, right? If tomorrow morning you turn around and go, bears are idiots. They bought the dip on Avago. Ha ha, bears never learn. You might have, again, the bull market thesis is intact. They turn around on crowd and say, hey, look, we bought the dip, right? We bought the dip. Everything's going green, then everything is still in tap. But at least now we got to be adults, folks. We got to be adults. You got to open your eyes. You got to take off the rose-colored glasses, and you have to understand that data is real. Coming from a person who traded through the first once-in-a-lifetime market, right, back in 99 and 2000, we all know how that ended. Is this going to be exactly the same thing? Maybe, maybe not. It's still to be determined. But if you are a trader, right, not an investor, not a God, I hope it happens type of person, then you have to be conscious that there is both sides of the market. We've seen aggressive selling at periods for the last 5 years. We've seen epic buying, like especially since the last 2 months. But always remember, folks, the market does not need a reason to do anything. And if you get caught with your pants below your ankles while the data is screaming at you, okay, and you refuse to acknowledge it, then the problem is you, not the market. So don't wake up one of these days, maybe even happens tomorrow, and say, who could have seen this coming, when you have Amazon, Google, PLTR, and God knows how many stocks else, Gilead, how many different stocks on the NASDAQ 100 sitting there literally either on their 50-day support or 200-day moving average. We shall see, said the blind man. We shall see. But be an adult, have the conversation, at least acknowledge where the landscape is, and then you decide as an adult how you want to proceed. Guys, have a great night, everybody. God bless. Knicks in the NBA Finals, Game 1. I thought I'd never say that ever again since 1999. Again, correlation back to the internet craze, to the dot-com bubble, to the AI explosion. Knicks Spurs. Is there a coincidence? God, I hope there's a different outcome. Folks, have a great night. God bless. I'll see you on the field tomorrow.